Hello everyone, today I would like to kind of go back over and do an updated review of Last Epoch. Previously when I made my first video, I only had about 57 hours into the game. Currently I'm at 283. A couple points I missed in my first video. I kind of want to just go back over, hopefully make it shorter, give a nice little review for everything. So first and foremost, I wanted to start with combat. Like, combat in this game has been so fun for me. It feels satisfying. So, I mean, overall, I give it, 9.5 out of 10. Like, it just feels good what you're doing. With that being said, to go along with it, the customization in this game, I also would give a 9.5, just because there are so many different options here, and each one of these options has their own talent tree to choose for like your skills, and some of these synergize with other skills. Like, if you have Javelin here, you can get it to cast Smite. So if you specialize in Smite, you're able to, get those to synergize, and even items will synergize with all these specialized skills. So like the amount of customization there is great. That being said, going over to item filters. Item filters are amazing. I flat out give them 10 out of 10. There are so many options, and it's so easy to learn how to do it, that even someone who isn't used to Path of Exile's loot filter system could come in and make your own without too much of an issue. And there is a guide in here to kind of explain how to do everything, which is very nice. The only option I wish that they would have is to be able to sort by a gold value, but that's irrelevant. With that being said, though, it does lead me into kind of the crafting system. This crafting system is very bare bones. It's easy to learn. There's not a whole lot of complexity to it, but at the same time there is. And just by itself, I give this about an 8 out of 10. The only thing that kind of ruins it for me is this forging potential, RNG, that type of stuff. It can feel bad when you lose all your forging potential, which is essentially what is the ability to craft on that item. So it can feel bad just losing everything in one upgrade, instead of getting 5, 6, 7 upgrades out of the item. So going back over kind of storage, I give this 9.5 out of 10. I mean, there's a lot of storage. Like gold, there's only like 2 uses for gold really in the game. There's a dungeon, I think it is, and then buying storage tabs. And if you're someone like me who is a hoarder, you're gonna need a lot of gold. But it's nice that you're able to easily get these tabs. You're able to search for names of items. I can put in, percent increased health, and I can go here and boom, there's a percent increased health. Percent increased health regen, stuff like that. Vitality shows up also, but you're able to sort that way. You have another secondary sort here where you can sort for like item names. Like here's a woven flesh. Now I can click each one of these and boom, these are all the tabs that have that item. So the storage itself is great. No real complaints outside of maybe cost, but that's irrelevant. Going through the story itself, I previously rated this very low, just because it was a little bit confusing at first. Back over here. But they've done a revamp to the beginning story, and it's made it make a lot more sense. And they're slowly fixing that. They're slowly updating, and honestly, now I think the story is a solid 8.5. Like for my previous like 5 or 6, I think I gave it. The story is actually fun. It's done in a way that I've ran through this story, I mean, 9 times now, something like that, and I'm not bored. Between the mix of customization, making your builds, and the story itself, I'm not bored. You know, I can keep making characters. I'll still keep making characters, and I'm having fun with it. So that's one big thing I enjoy. That they did do that modification in this new patch. They are, editing things, making it more fluid. It's great. That also kind of leads me into the end game, which is where I'm at now. It's very much like the map system from Path of Exile, from what I am told. Gives you a lot of target farming for items, and you get a lot of experience. You can level up pretty quickly doing this stuff. You can get a lot of resources, a lot of items themselves, like down in the corner there it says rare bows and quivers. You can target farm that way. This end game, I give it an 8.5, just for the sheer fact that sometimes getting to those nodes that you want can be kind of a pain, and also if you die, you lose all of your rewards, and you lose all your player modifiers that have built up. So all your XP and your item rarity drop, so essentially a magic find. You lose all that, and you have to start back over again, which is very disheartening. It doesn't feel good. Bare minimum, being able to keep the reward or keep the modifier, one or the other, like, I think that would improve the system more, but it's still a good system, You also target farm bosses for these two by getting the stability, and that's another thing that kind of lowers it for me a bit, because it can take a long time to get the amount of stability you need. I'm on normals right now, but if I go to empowered, I mean, I think it's like 800 to be able to get to this boss and farm them. Granted, you can skip the 2 prerequisite quests and just do the boss, that part is nice. So there's that. The overall graphics and like the living world feeling of this game is absolutely amazing. I mean, right now I'm giving it about an 8 out of 10. Maybe I would say a 9. They've actually done a big overhaul just recently in this newest patch of the graphics of the game. So there's a lot of better looking assets around the world. If you look off your screen, off the map, you look down there, like there's a black hole. There's one point where you watch a giant walk underneath you in one of the maps. The living world, the world itself feels living, and it adds that extra oomph to the game, I feel, that makes it fun. Like when you can just stop there and just stare off at something and have fun doing it. I like that. That's personally something I love. Moving into multiplayer, since that's been a kind of hot topic for this game. This game was not originally built to have a multiplayer. It was a single player ARPG. Just recently in this last year, last actually a couple months, they put in a multiplayer system to this game. I rated it fairly low beforehand. I think I did like 4 or 5 or something like that. Right now I'm putting it at about a 6. They are making improvements. It has gotten a lot better. I don't have as many connection issues as I did before, and they are constantly upgrading it more and more and more. So right now the game itself is early access. The multiplayer is technically a beta in that early access, so people have to take that with a grain of salt, because this is new to them. This game wasn't designed for that. So, that's why I always give them a little bit of a pass. It's a small indie company for it. First of all, it was not meant to be a multiplayer game. They're now trying to make a multiplayer game out of it. So, and they're doing a good job. Like, there are issues. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. But it's not horrible. Like, I would put this on par with, Diablo. Like Diablo 3, even Diablo 4. Some of the, AAA companies, their release for their games have some of these issues, these same issues that this game has from player. But like I said, right now it's about a 6 out of 10, maybe a 7. And it's just going to get better from here. Overall difficulty of this game, I honestly give it a 10 out of 10. And some people will argue that point and say nowhere near 10 out of 10. Because the early game for this game is easy. And that puts some people off. That makes some people like it. Some people say the end game is too hard. Some people say end game is easy. So it's hard to please everyone. I think that this game does a good balance of that. The early game is very easy for you. And when I say early game, I'm talking like levels 1 to level 30. Because this game, you go up to level 100, and this character's 88 at the moment. True like full end game is getting here to this empowered monolith system. So you have to go all the way through normal and unlock all of these. Sorry, I forgot to show that. Before you actually get to the true end game. And there are step-ups in difficulty at certain levels. Once you pass level 30, there's a noticeable increase in difficulty. Not big. Then once you get past 40 and 50, there is a noticeable difficulty increase. Then it kind of, plateaus out in difficulty as you gear up more and level up more. Difficulty kind of flatlines a bit, and it does get a little bit easier. Then once you move into monoliths, you slowly get harder and harder and harder until you get to empowered monoliths, where you get to the end game where it does start to get extremely hard. So, I mean, like I said, I feel that's a good progression system. You actually feel like you're getting stronger as you play the game. And that's why I give it a 10 out of 10. Now, the easiness in the early game puts a lot of people off, I know, who are more hardcore gamers. But I like it, personally, And that mention of hardcore actually reminds me, I haven't made a hardcore character yet, so I can't really confirm all of this, but just from the basic screen, you can make hardcore characters, it looks like, and based on the wording, it sounds like when your hardcore character dies, you don't actually lose it permanently. It then gets turned into a softcore character, which I personally like that aspect of it. It's see how long you can stay hardcore and you don't fully lose everything off that character. So I personally like that system. I'm not going to rate it or anything because I'm not a hardcore player. So that's up to anyone else who does main hardcore to give a rating for that one. Also, I want to go over price and monetization. Right. This game, I'm giving it 8 or 9 out of 10, like, for that one. Because this game is only $35. I have gotten well above $35 worth of fun out of this game. Like, I think anyone who is a fan of this genre, this game is well worth the buy. Even if you only play, 10, 15 hours, 8 hours, this game is going to be fun for you for that time. You're going to get your money's worth. I thoroughly love that, They also are going to have a cash shop. They already do. I'm trying to remember what button it is. Nope. Oh, forgot to bring up this for customization too. Whoops. Wow. There it is, you. So, they do have a cash shop, right? They originally went with the typical system that most games have of the pay $5, you get this many points. Pay $20, you get this many points plus a bonus. Now, they got some backlash for that. Because it is a, I don't like to use the word predatory, but it's a bit scummy, but it is also commonplace in the industry. So I personally don't like that system. I don't like it at all. In 24 hours, they ended up changing how they do their cash op currency. They also reduced the price on a bunch of stuff. Like if I remember correctly, this was 150 points or something like that. So within 24 hours, they've reduced the price on a lot of their stuff. Like this one, I think was also 150 points. And also they changed up how you get points. So now it is just a flat, essentially $5 increments, 5, 10, and then 20 there. And it's a $1 for 10 type of system. Everything also in the cash shop is in increments of 50. So you never have to pay for excess to get what you want. So everything is going to be in increments of 50. That, I honestly think, is so good that they listened that quickly. Like, it is huge. Because a lot of times in this industry in general, gaming industry in general, you don't get that type of communication. With like Blizzard devs, you usually don't get that type of communication and quick response. Usually if there's an issue, it's going to take months for them to respond, and then possibly more months to finally come to agreement and fix things. So I thoroughly love that. And they do have supporter packs that you can buy, which I've already gotten one of them. They all are pretty much worth the price. I've gone over them in a couple other streams and videos. Some of these lower ones, you actually make money off of them technically with this extra 150 epoch points, but all of these bundles are easily worth the price. Yeah, so overall with this game, I give it, just kind of based on my ratings before, the average and all that stuff, and how I feel, this game is a solid 8.5 out of 10. There are some issues. I tell people it is in early access, multiplayer is in beta, but overall, I mean, hell, even the Steam reviews are pretty good. The more recent ones are a little bit more mixed because of the multiplayer stuff, but that's why I say take it with a grain of salt with any of those reviews, because these are people who are expecting the game to be built around multiplayer when it's not. This game is well worth the price. It's well worth everything. I mean, the amount of fun you'll get out of it, it's $35. Like, I tell people it's $35. It's gonna be fun. So, now these are all just my own opinion. People are gonna differ. People might argue this point, but I love this game. I want it to succeed, and it's the most fun I've had since playing Diablo 2 way back in the day. So tell me what you think, guys. If you have differing views, let's have a conversation.